T.I. yoked up his son, King Harris, expeditiously this afternoon at the Kings game. Things went sideways after King started arguing with his parents. Voices and tensions continued to rise as the two started yelling at each other. One point you could hear T.I. yelling, "Ninja, you are an embarrassment to your family." Later, King appeared to post an obscured photo from behind a car wheel. He added the text, "I stand on business." Let's check out the clip.
I know you though. I know you. What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all doing that to me? Y'all know me. You know I stand on business. You know I stand on business. Why you even letting somebody play with me like that? Why you letting somebody play with me like that? Why you letting him play with me like that? Why you letting him play with me like that? No, ain't no joking. Ain't no joking. What do you mean?
You are embarrassing yourself and your family, nigga. You embarrassing yourself.
Oh, man. So, yeah, you could clearly hear T.I. saying you are embarrassing yourself. So there's several different things that are interesting about this specific situation. For one, King Harris went on Funny Marco's platform about a month ago, revealing some of the inside behind the scenes of what went on at the Family Hustle show produced by T.I. and his wife Tiny. I actually watched that show sporadically growing up, and it was a pretty good show. I kind of liked that family dynamic. But basically, he stated that while he was on the show, that the show kind of fabricated certain things to make it look a certain way. Being that, one, he stated there's a lot about the TV show that got people confused. He said, "Because I live with my grandma, we'll go to T.I. and Tiny's house on like a weekend. They'll say, 'Hey, we shooting today. We need y'all at the house.' They come get me at my grandma's house, and right after we done, when the cameras go off, I'm right back to my grandma's house." Wow, that's interesting. So, yeah, I don't know why that would be. It seems like maybe he was just like a problem child as a kid, and as a mom, Tiny was just like, "Look, you can go with my grandma. She's a bit more patient. She's a bit more seasoned and can deal with a very aggressive child." And I can see that perspective. Or another one was like people just say that King has been spoiled since a child. I mean, you have millionaire parent, and a lot of the things that regular people go through, you kind of missed. And that's a good thing, because when you make it in life, you want your child to not have to go through those struggles, right? So to his defense, it's kind of like he's faulted for the success of his parents. But then again, his attitude, the way he carries himself. I remember early on with the Boosie son, Tootie Raw, the way he would carry himself was kind of out of pocket. And thankfully, he seems like he's matured a bit more and doesn't do the showing prop guns, showing, telling people to pull up and just living a underground street lifestyle when you have a father who has resources that a child could only dream of, right? But I think that kind of, obviously childhood has to play a lot in people's lives. So if he said specifically that he wasn't living with T.I. and Tiny, his biological parents, for majority of his youth, and he was with his grandma, so there probably isn't that strong of a bond or connection to be fighting with your parents on live stream at a Atlanta Falcons game where you guys are perceived as black excellence, right? Now, there has been allegations and whatnot, but nothing seems to have merit or actual substance, so can't really divulge into that out of let's just say for journalistic integrity, right? But what do you guys think? Do y'all think that maybe he's just dealing with a lot of pressure, being that he grew up under the public's eye and kind of has to make, well, he kind of put it on himself in a sense, because no one was, look at Domani. He is dope. Like, he's very, like, his artistic, the way he expresses himself artistically is fire. Like, truly, truly fire. He went from rapping to playing the guitar to playing live instruments on stage. Like, that's a real talent. That's a real talent. And he's not really into drama like that. You don't really get to see Domani's name into scandals or this and that. So that's dope too. You don't see him having to bear a gangster reputation the same way King might think that he does. So hopefully, he seeks some therapy or whatnot, because you're saying I stand on business to your parent, to people who brought you into this world. Now, granted, he just mentioned how he lived with his grandma, but at the end of the day, even if you didn't, live with them, they still are your parents and have granted you opportunities that a lot of kids didn't have. So I would assume that there's some kind of gratitude for that. But in that clip, it didn't seem like it. You telling your dad, I stand on business, you playing with me, and then, as a father, T.I. yoked him up and he said, man, you can't do nothing with me. Obviously I couldn't play it, but it's in that clip towards the end of it. He yoked him up and said, man, you couldn't do nothing with me. Right. And I think obviously they didn't come to blows from what the video shows. It was more of like a roughing up to, bring you back to reality. Like, hey man, I know you're upset right now, but at the end of the day, like, I'm your father, grown man strength type thing. So I was looking at it from that perspective. Obviously you're going to have people say that this, that, and the other, but we come from the urban environment. So that's completely 100% normal. And we want that. We advocate for that, because a child without the discipline of a father being around, we know what that does in urban communities. So seeing that, some people have different opinions, but this is something that obviously was brewing for a very long time, right? So if he's coming out and saying, man, what y'all saw on the show, it wasn't even really like that. Like, I was going to my grandma's. I'm going there when they call, they telling me and Grams, like, we shooting today, and they'll send a car, and then as soon as we wrap up shooting, I'm right back to grandma's house. And that's super interesting, because that's really actually super interesting, because I would never even assume that. And I actually watched that show, again, sporadically growing up. But I remember seeing like them being one big happy family. I would have never assumed that King is going back to live with the grandma, right? And that could be for many reasons. Obviously, all speculation, but it's truly interesting. And the way T.I. articulates himself and carries himself is superb. Right? Superb. Like, for you to come from the background you come from and accomplish the things that you have accomplished, and to be kind of synonymous for big words and having a big lexicon and linguistics, that's fire. Right? And you would think that, and it rubbed off on Domani, as you could see, but King, I feel like there's something deeper there, right? I feel like there's something deeper there. And family therapy, right? I would say they need to do some family therapy in terms of King, and because it seems like they're on two different accords, two different pages. Like, I stand on business. It's like, you don't have to prove anything to anyone, bro. Like, that's just my perspective. But what do y'all think, though? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, help me get to 20,000 million subscribers.